to the bill through the House. The amendment, introduced in 2012, was intended to give a 50% rebate to manufacturers who produced alternative energy or had at least $100,000 in exports in a year. However, Mr. Sinclair says the bill, as it was worded, extended the rebate to individuals who installed photovoltaic systems.
Our intention is to ensure that those persons who are genuinely into producing, manufacturers, and are exporting on top of that, that they can have the benefit. Individuals will claim theirs in the normal allowance under the Income Tax Act. We will keep that particular thing there so that individuals are given not just for the photovoltaic, the producing, but also for the energy efficiency, the as they call it, the EE interventions. Because we want to ensure that even though oil prices have abated a bit, and we don't know for how long, that we don't turn our backs on the alternative energy thrust.
In a brief contribution, Opposition Leader Mia Motley said the budget presentation would be a good opportunity to address the changes needed.
The intention was a good intention to be able to ease the cost of business so as to make them more competitive in the export business as a manufacturer and more competitiveness in the business of producing alternative energy. So I don't know if the minister will reintroduce it, as I said, in the budget that he intends to bring sometime soon, in which case it will have the cloak of the Provisional Collection of Taxes Act, such that when the land taxes bill come out, they will not have to fine 100% of the tax levied if they fall within that very neat and discrete category of person.
Several new positions are to be created within the recently established Barbados Revenue Authority. That's the word from Minister of Finance and Economic Affairs Chris Sinclair. He also says Barbados shouldn't be concerned as the Customs Department transitions into the BRA.
You're going to pick up others in the appropriate areas where the skill sets are more needed and applicable. And I also give the House the assurance, as I give the country the assurance, that I will bring, so long as the Cabinet approves, a ministerial statement to be issued in this House properly outlining the new structure, organizational structure for customs, that part of customs that is being integrated into the Barbados Revenue Authority.
Mr. Sinclair says no customs employee will be forced into the BRA.
An offer will be made to those persons, and so long as they take up that offer, all benefits which they receive, whatever level they are appointed at, even, we've gone even further, that persons who are acting in positions to which they are not appointed should be able, we have allowed them to transition into the BRA at those acting levels. Not acting because they get an appointment when they go over there. They get a contract. But not a contract at their potential substantive position, which may be lower than the one they're acting in. They get to go over at the level they're at.
Meanwhile, Opposition MP for St. Joseph, Dale Marshall, does not want the Customs Department to lose sight of its enforcement responsibilities when brought into the Barbados Revenue Authority.
When you have an enforcement function, and you're reporting to an individual who has no training and for whom that enforcement function does not represent part of her vision, there's a possibility, Mr. Speaker, of, let's just say, inconsistent messaging. And I think that that is a legitimate concern. So the opposition wants to be satisfied that when this transition occurs, that there must be no diminution in the focus of customs when it comes to its enforcement responsibility and the role it plays in terms of border control.
MP for St. Michael West Central, James Paul, says the Customs Department has a critical role to play in ensuring a level playing field when it comes to submissions made by importers. The government backbencher says domestic producers have complained of unfair competition by some importers.
In many cases, we have seen, even in the garment industry, where the practices of importers have caused the demise of local producers in this country. We have seen it, where what they have done is that they have used their privileged position as importers in some cases to go out there and bring in a product which they know will deliberately undermine our local production. That is what they have done. And in that regard, again, we cannot underestimate the role that customs has to play.
Tourism Minister Richard Seeley is giving his full support to plans to acquire just over 1,200 square feet of land at Bay Street in the city for tourism-related projects. The land, located on the site of what is known as the Old Fishing Complex, is to be vested in the Barbados Tourism Investment Inc. Mr. Seeley says while there are plans for tourism development, it will not mean that the area, which is very popular with locals, will be shut off to them.
A number of private sector entities in that corridor have expressed an interest in doing different projects on that land. No decision has been made yet, but suffice it to say, as the member alluded to, the old award, along with this area, have been earmarked. A little further down, of course, what I can announce is that there will, with a bit of luck, be some hotel development that will be added to what is already a very significant offering for day trippers, cruisers.
Meantime, opposition city MP Jeffrey Bostic asked for an update on the projects earmarked for the constituency. He says plans have been announced for developments, including the old eye hospital, but very few of these, if any, have come to fruition.
I recall, for example, hearing about a Pierhead development project, which I believe, in fact, I'm sure was started under the Barbados Labour Party administration. But I'm not certain as to what is happening with that project. Where is that project going, if it is indeed going anywhere? Has the project been reconstituted? I mean, does it look like something else today in terms of what the present government is thinking?
Waste haulers and movers continued their protest against the tipping fee today, but they were stopped before making their way along their planned route, which would have taken them through Bridgetown and in front of the Parliament building as a convoy of trucks. The action of the combined group of several companies came after they parked their vehicles in protest opposite Warren's Tower 2, the home of the Ministry of the Environment. The trucks were stopped by police along Station Hill, St. Michael, after starting off from Warren's. Traffic was also backed up as a result. Police Public Relations Officer, Acting Assistant Superintendent David Welch, confirmed that the convoy of what police say was more than 30 trucks was stopped along Station Hill. He says their information suggests that the truckers were headed to Bridgetown. ASP Welch says the truckers were advised that they would not be allowed to continue as a procession like that would require permission from the Commissioner of Police. The haulers have called on Prime Minister Fendel Stewart to intervene, as they say the $25 tipping fee will put them out of business. Barbados is the only CARICOM country named in the World Economic Forum's 2015 Travel and Tourism Competitiveness Index. The report ranks 141 countries, revealing how well they could deliver sustainable economic and societal benefits through their travel and tourism sector. Barbados is named as the 10th country whose economies prioritize travel and tourism. Malta tops that list. Barbados is also ranked 4th among the top 10 most tourism-ready economies in South and Central America. The top-ranked country is Brazil. Coming up later in the business report, moves to make it easier to get goods through the Bridgetown port. But first, we want to get your take on this question. Does it take too long for goods to be released from the island's ports? Text yes or no to short code 8111. We'll have the results at the end of the news.
Our life, our restaurant, our family means everything to us. A strong headache, then the pain goes away and our passion comes in.
Panadol Ultra, a combination of ingredients clinically proven to relieve the toughest pains, strong enough to relieve even the pain of migraine. Panadol Ultra, when strong pain is gone, life takes its place.
Everyone has a story that deserves to be heard. Colombian Emeralds International and Morning Barbados are again teaming up to give you some fabulous jewelry in your colors of the month. Share your story in no more than 50 words about why you or someone special deserves to be seen in CEI's Colors of the Month. Simply watch Morning Barbados to see and hear about the featured color of the month. Visit the Colombian Emeralds International Facebook page, copy the Colors of the Month logo, and post it with your story on your Facebook page with hashtag CEI Colors. CEI's expert team will judge your entries at the end of each month, and the winning stories will be announced and shared right here on Morning Barbados. Get your Colors of the Month at Colombian Emeralds International, because you deserve it.
Your home is probably the biggest investment you'll ever make, so don't let the elements wreak havoc on it. To protect it against peeling, cracking, flaking, fungus and algae, use Berger Weatherproof Ultra. Extreme tropical protection made to withstand the elements. Ultra tough, ultra durable, ultra beautiful. We guarantee it.
Berger paints for lasting beauty and protection.
To the Lime One Awesome Day in association with Live 97.5 FM for the first ever Gospel DJ Challenge featuring me, DJ Pedro G, and DJ Special K.
This year, you can't miss it.
Enjoy the ministry of Positive, Sharon Gardner, Ecclesia, Bridget Blucher, Promise, and so much more from the USA, Canada, UK, and Anguilla.
This year, I won't miss the hill.
This year, it's all on the hill.
Lime One Awesome Day in association with Live 97.5 FM. Sunday, May 31st at the 40 Hill National Park from 1 p.m. with the Shafet Kids Experience. Tickets, $40 advance, $45 at the door. VIP, $100. From Things Gospel, CS Pharmacy, Joe's Pharmacy, Oyston, CLC, El Bethel Pharmacy, all court stores, and Soul Service stations.
Residents of Jackman St. Michael are this evening complaining of a serious cowitch problem. Sean Farrell reports.
Discomfort and itchiness. This was the plight of many of the residents of the Jackman St. Michael area who are blaming the management of the Lears plantation for ignoring their plight regarding a cowitch problem which has been plaguing them for years. They claim as the plantation starts cane reaping, they have not exercised due care in discarding the cowitch which rests among the canes. Residents say the cowitch is affecting young children as well as those working and the elderly.
Every morning you get up, this is going to be what's going on till this done. I don't feel that it's fair that a campground should be right above me. We got little children live down here.
Andrea Maxwell, who celebrates her birthday today, says she cannot enjoy it because of the problem.
It's not fair for us. And it's my birthday, and it looks like it's my birthday, and an issue birthday. For the lady for my birthday. There's comfort here for me right now. I can't sit on my chairs, I can't take a spoon, I can't do nothing in the house.
Meanwhile, another resident says even her best efforts to minimize the pain have not been enough.
He sleep one place, and when he roll working it on his bed. So he stay able to go and work this morning. Well, the baby, he itching, so I tell the mother to green me down, powder me down, put on socks and long sleeve pants and shirt on him.
Employees responsible for harvesting were spotted in highly protective gear because of the cowitch situation. Meanwhile, manager of Lears Plantation, Elvis Giddens, says he's doing his best to ensure residents are not affected. This includes notifying them one day in advance, as well as spraying the vine before harvesting. Giddens, however, admits that despite his attempts, it's nearly impossible to totally get rid of the problem.
Cowitch is a very hard thing to get rid of. No maybes about it. It is very hard. And I try my best.
Unfortunately, until the matter is addressed, Jackman residents believe they will continue to suffer. Problems with cowitch also forced the closure of the Cuthbert Moore School today. When the CBC team visited, the Ministry of Education was making good on its promise to conduct an industrial cleaning of the institution. Sean Farrell, CBC News.
Well, officials from the Ministry of Education say the Cuthbert Moore School will remain closed tomorrow. They want to ensure that the institution is free of cowitch before allowing students and staff back into classes. Police are investigating a suspected drowning at Browns Beach near Lower Bay Street early this morning. A CBC News team went into that area where the body of a man was lying on the beach after being pulled from the water by a passerby. The man was identified by a family member as 47-year-old Roger Rudder of Brighton St. George. Eyewitness and chairperson of the District Emergency Organization, City of Bridgetown, Samuel Holder, believes more lifeguards are needed in that area.
I think we should have a lifeguard station down here. The closest lifeguard station down here is up by Charlie Bear Center. Then you got about nearly a half mile of beach space. This is where the Coast Guard was there, mining company was there, the freighters was there, right? And it needs some more guards down this side, because a lot of people bed here on mornings.
Investigations continue into a stabbing incident at the Valerie high-rise at Britain's Hill, which has left 2 women injured. A man reportedly attacked the women around midday yesterday on the 5th floor of the high-rise housing complex. The females, a mother and a daughter, were rushed to hospital for treatment. The head of the Barbados Employers Confederation says redundancies are still a last resort for employers. Executive Director Tony Walcott says the Confederation is in contact with its 210 members on a daily basis, and many organizations are now in the process of reviewing their business models.
Some of that review and restructuring may result in some instances in some redundancies, but not the large-scale redundancies that you would have seen, say like you had at Cable and Wireless 3 years ago. We haven't witnessed any of those really in basically last year. There will be the 1 or 2 here that happens as a normal course of review.
Mr. Walcott says over the last 5 years there was very little industrial action, but according to him, productivity is one of the biggest challenges facing the country, and one strike is one too many.
Any stoppage of work impacts negatively on productivity. Yes, there is a role for the workers' unions to represent the interests of the workers, and I think generally that has been done quite responsibly in Barbados.
Cancer Support Services is still in the business of assisting victims and families affected by cancer. This from counsellor and pastor associated with the program, Paul Leacock. He was speaking at the launch of the 4th open day of the Morning Art Group hosted by the Cancer Support Services.
Cancer Support helps in many ways in terms of lending equipment, counseling. Ward C12 of the hospital has been adopted, and persons there are visited and assisted, and their relatives in significant ways.
President Kathy Ann Kelly Springer said the art program gives much needed therapy to participants.
It is very, therapeutic. It enhances your cognitive ability, and it allows you to just sometimes have a blank mind, and then when you start with one movement, then you have the circles, you have the curves, you have the up, the down, the slopes, the different gradients and stuff like that.
Program facilitator Linda Hook is elated at how the program has improved over the years.
We started simply with a marker and a piece of paper and started doodling. As time went on, we developed skills and took on more artistic challenges. We embraced our creative side, and we discovered that we are all creative.
Rock has been used as a means for some artists to share their creativity. In this series, Murals in Barbados, Life on the Stones, we will feature a piece of work that has been around for over a decade. More in this report.
Imagine this. You're about to watch a game of cricket, and an adult elephant walks onto the field with a ball curled in its trunk. He runs up to the pitch and gets ready to bowl at a giraffe. And where is this test match? Well, it's being played at Paris Hill, St. Joseph. Yes, these are life-sized wild animals depicting a game of traditional cricket, sculpted out of rock. If you listen carefully, you would almost hear Cricket in the Jungle by Trade Winds.
Well, I hear a story from Ken Cosby. Cricket came in the jungle. Sunday morning right after church, big crowd assemble.
Sculptor Christopher Chandler says the rock determines the subject matter.
The work is done by using the natural forms, the natural formations in the rock, holes, fissures, cracks, lines, everything that's in the rock is interpreted. Then you would carve based on, you study the work, study those holes, study those imperfections, if you want to call it that. You carve a little bit here, then you start to mold with concrete to fill in areas that you might need to fill in a little bit. So the idea is not to do too much or too little. The natural form determines what will come out in the end.
The mural came to life at the turn of the millennium, in the year 2000, when excitement was high. Mr. Chandler admits he was using a new technique to recreate the stone in Paris Hill.
I will take photos and I will study, just look at the form of the natural limestone formation on the wall. And that natural flow eventually is going to interpret what comes out of the rock. It's like, I tell people it's like clouds. We have rocks in Bathsheba then, let's put it this way. There are rocks in Bathsheba near Calwash Joe's River where they look like frogs sitting. If you look at them, everybody can see it's a frog, or we have what we call the sleeping giant, where you can see from the hill in Bathsheba or you can see from Farley Hill, right? That's an interpretive work. That's just the outline, so, but you look at it and you can see it looks like a guy lying there sleeping.
The environmentalist says Barbados is full of rock and encourages other artists to try their hand at it.
I believe you probably will need help. I started off, it was something new for me. I had to figure my way as I went. I'm a sculptor who paints. I would encourage anybody to try, whatever they give it a shot. It's not that. If you have a small rock, you could start. It doesn't have to be like this. You could also plaster and paint something on, It's one of our major, most plentiful resources, and it's not really utilized for very much apart from marl and grit and stuff, right? So my idea is to use what we have, man. We don't have that much, so we may as well use what we do have available to us.
The painted sculpture is a tourist attraction, and visitor Laura Clement says the story the rock tells is very interesting.
We don't have cliffs for, someone to carve into and create a living mural, It's not just flat. He's actually carved into the stone and created a three-dimensional piece of artwork.
Resident Algernon Brooms is concerned, though, that not many people take the time to get out of their vehicles to admire the work.
I've been here and I've seen people drive past and stop, actual Bajans drive past and stop because they did not know that this was here.
What's at Paris Hill is what Mr. Chandler says is a free art gallery, where an artist can have his work embedded in rock to time indefinitely. Kimita Jones, CBC News.
Well, still to come, a look at some of the stories making headlines across the region, including an opposition